Hey guys, welcome back. And today we are doing my post regular season mock draft. I haven't done a mock draft in a really long time. So I'm really excited to get on here, get this video done, and kind of give you guys some further thoughts on some prospects that we haven't necessarily talked about just yet. But before we get into the video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, and leave a comment. And let me know who you guys think your favorite team should take down below. But guys, let's go ahead and get into it with the Chicago Bears at number one. Really, the entire draft hinders off this pick. At the time of recording this, I'm recording this on Wednesday the 10th. The Chicago Bears have decided to fire offensive coordinator Luke Getsy. They've gotten rid of some of their pieces. It looks like they are doing a complete offensive staff overhaul, which gives me the thought that they're going to be in the quarterback market. By the way, there will be no trades in this mock. I do think that the Bears are going to end up going with the quarterback. Well, Justin Fields had a good finish to the season. I'm not so sure he is the long-term solution there in Chicago. I think they're going to trade him to a team like Atlanta, to a team like Pittsburgh, and he's going to do solid there, but I think for the Bears, they are going to take their quarterback of the future. And for me, it's Caleb Williams. I think he is the best quarterback prospect in this draft. Great arm, has an incredible ability to extend plays similarly to what you have seen Justin Fields do. I think he's more accurate with the football. And I know everyone's going to bring up his lack of wins against top 25 teams. He played for Lincoln Riley's defense. That defense had some of the worst pieces that you could imagine. I think Caleb Williams is the best quarterback in this draft. I'm taking him at one. Then you got Washington at two. The Sam Howell experience didn't really work out. Led the NFL in turnovers. Just a guy who was inconsistent, and he had some really good moments, but there were some other moments that just left you wanting more. And I'm going to take Drake May. I think another team that fired Riverboat Ron, they're a team that is looking to get a completely new offensive staff in there, whether that's Eric Bieniemy, whatever it may be. They've got weapons on this team. Terry McLaurin is a top 10, 12 receiver in the league, has been plagued with poor quarterback play year in and year out. On top of that, I just think Drake May is the better prospect to Sam Howell. He's got an incredible deep ball, really good deep ball accuracy, can put the ball into really tight spaces. I think Washington is going to go back to UNC, and they're going to kind of, with a new regime, take their guy, new ownership, and try and build around Drake May. I think those are going to be the top two picks. Then you get the Patriots here at three. I don't think that Bill Belichick is going to be back. As of now, he's still on the roster, but I don't think he's going to be back. I think New England is going to take a quarterback. I know Marvin Harrison Jr. is right there. The receivers are in play, but this is a team that I think is in desperate need of a franchise quarterback. Neither Mac Jones nor Bailey Zappi really did anything that excited me all season long. And I'm going to take Jaden Daniels. I think he is going to end up being a top 5 pick. A team is going to end up selecting him, the Heisman winner. This is the highest. I think it's the only time, actually, I've selected Jaden Daniels in the first round. It's been that long since I've done a mock draft. Jaden Daniels is a really good athlete. He's going to be able to run very similar to Lamar Jackson. He's got a good arm. Would like to see a little bit more in terms of consistency, because outside of this year at LSU, there were consistency concerns. But this is a guy who had an incredible season for LSU. I think he has played himself into the top 5 pick. I think he's going to test incredibly well at the combine. I am taking him at number 3 to New England. At number 4 to Arizona, very simple. It's Marvin Harrison Jr., in my opinion, the best player in the entire draft. This is a Cardinals team that I think is a few pieces away from being in the playoffs. They had some nice play from the receivers. Rondale Moore got involved more than he has in previous years. On top of that, Marquise Brown's a free agent, so you're going to have to worry about that. I don't think they're going to bring him back. Michael Wilson, the 3rd-round pick from Stanford, was one of my favorite players. He's looked pretty good, but you need a number 1 guy. Marvin Harrison Jr., excellent speed, excellent size, phenomenal hands, great body control, really good route runner. Everything you want from a receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. brings. You've got your quarterback there in Kyler Murray. Go get him a true number 1 that is going to take this offense to completely new heights. We saw Trey McBride really good. You pair Trey McBride with Marvin Harrison Jr., Rondale Moore, Michael Wilson. You've got a really nice group of receivers to throw the ball to, and that Arizona offense is going to be really tough to stop. The Chargers at 5 are a team that I've really struggled with. You could go Brock Bowers here, who I think is probably he's the top player on my big board. Great tight end. He's going to be able to block for you. Also, an excellent receiver. You can use him in a lot of different ways. But there's a team that I do think is going to make a lot of cuts in terms of salary. Mike Williams, I don't know if he's going to be back after getting the big contract. I don't know if Keenan Allen will be back. Khalil Mack probably won't be back. This team is in a really bad cap situation. And you look at the receiver room, Keenan Allen's up there in age. Mike Williams can't stay healthy. Josh Palmer, who I really, really like, couldn't stay healthy this year. And then you drafted Quentin Johnston in the first round last year, who really was not good whatsoever. I think you're looking for another weapon for Justin Herbert. This is a team that really underperformed expectations. I'm going to take Malik Neighbors. I think if you pair his speed with Justin Herbert's arm, this could be a really, really good connection for a long, long time. He's got excellent speed down the field. He is going to be able to just run by guys, and you need electric offenses to win in this division, which this year you didn't because the Chiefs offense wasn't particularly great, but historically speaking, you're going to need a game-changing X wide receiver. Malik Neighbors, while I don't know if he's got the size necessarily to play on the outside, he is going to be one of the scariest slot options in the league right away. And I think it's going to be great for the Chargers. So I'm taking him at 5, 2 LSU players in the top 5. The Giants at 6. No quarterbacks outside of Daniels, May, and Williams really intrigue me here for them. You could talk about Bo Nix. I do think Bo Nix is a first-round guy. I don't like him in the top 10. Same thing with J.J. McCarthy. I think J.J. McCarthy could go in this first round. Don't know if he's a top 10 guy. The other position that I think is really lacking, yes, you could go tackle. It's the right tackle position that I think they really need to address. And I don't want to take Joe Alt or Olu and move them to the right side. I want to go get a receiver. I think that you can get a good right tackle in day 2. You've got your second-round pick. Go get a Tyler Guyton, a Kingsley Suamatia. Go get a guy like that. I am going to take a wide receiver here for the New York Giants. And to me, it's Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze has worked himself up into my wide receiver too, a guy who has excellent size on the outside. He has got really, really good speed and great reliable hands. Route running is a plus as well. I think Rome Odunze and this offense would be fantastic. They have really lacked size at that receiver position. They've got Wan'Dale Robinson. They've got Jalen Hyatt, who I don't think are necessarily the kind of guys I want. Hyatt is going to be that speedster down the field, but I think Odunze can win down the field, but he can also be more of your possession guy as well. I think he is going to be an excellent solution here for the Giants, and I'm taking him at 6. Then at number 7, we got the Tennessee Titans. Their offensive line was an absolute disaster from the beginning of the year. I think you've got to go get a tackle. I'm going to take my number 1 tackle, Olu Fashanu. Really athletic guy. He's got good size, great footwork for the position as well. Great hand placement. He's super strong. I believe he's 330 pounds. This is a guy who I think is going to come in, be a really good run blocker. We know the Titans want to run block. I think Olu is going to be a dynamic run blocker. Can pass protect really well also. I think this is a really good situation for him. I'm going to take Olu at 7. Then we got the Falcons at 8. And this is one of the more interesting picks because, again, not a quarterback I think that's worth taking here at 8. Where do you go elsewhere? You could look at the receiving room, which we've talked about it before. This receiving class is fantastic. Keon Coleman, Brian Thomas, Emeka Ibuka. I don't know if I like any of those guys in the top 10 at this point, which I know Keon Coleman was a guy who I still think could go really high. I don't know if I like him to the Falcons here. I think offensive line was a bit of a area that was underwhelming, you could say, for the Falcons. You've got an aging tackle there. I do think this is the team that's going to trade for Justin Fields. Like I said, there's no trade, so I'm not really worried about a quarterback. Where I'm going to go here, I'm going to take an edge rusher. I think defensive line is going to be a position that this team is really going to need to address. You play that 3-4 scheme, and you've got the two best guys here on the board for you, Dallas Turner, Latu. This is a neck and neck. I think these guys are 1A, 1B for me. Very close for me. I'm going to take Dallas Turner to the Falcons. Really good pass rusher. Also a really good run stopper as well, which Latu is as well. But I think Dallas Turner fits kind of what the Falcons want to do. And speaking of Latu, I am taking him right here to the Bears. You saw how good Montez Sweat was for this team. Once they made the move, this defense was night and days better. You go get another edge rusher who I think he is my personal edge one. I think Latu is going to be a game changer at the next level. Excellent speed, strong. He's versatile. You can play him as an outside linebacker. You can play him on the line of scrimmage. You can really do a lot of different things with him. I think Latu is going to come in and be in that defensive rookie of the year conversation. As long as medically he tests out okay, I think he's going to be a beast. At number 10, we've got the Jets. Very easy pick. Joe Alt is still on the board. We're not overthinking it. I think Joe Alt is the very easy pick here. Alt is arguably the best tackle in this draft. He has been very reliable for Notre Dame. He's strong. He's got good footwork. There are a couple of concerns I have every now and then with how his feet stop moving, which is something I would like to see improve, but I'm a really big fan of him. I think he's going to be a really good player in the NFL. Then we got the Vikings, who are one of the hardest teams to draft for, mostly because I don't know if Kirk Cousins is going to come back. If I had to bet, I do think Kirk Cousins is going to come back. And I don't know if it changes much for me. I want to take a defensive player for this team. Brian Flores did a pretty good job defensively turning this team around, but I think they're going to need to make a move. For me, I want to address that interior, and I'm going to take Jerzon Newton here, a pick that I haven't seen a lot of people making. An excellent run stopper. He's got really good ability as a pass blocker. Yes, he is a little bit undersized, but this is a guy who's an athletic freak. I think he is going to test off the charts. I think he's going to be a really good player in the NFL. He is a top 10 player on my board. I think he'd be a great fit in Minnesota. So I'm going to take Jerzon Newton at number 11 to the Vikings. At number 12, we got the Denver Broncos. This pick is very simple for me. It's going to be Bo Nix. Bo Nix is the perfect Sean Payton quarterback. He's a little bit undersized. He's white. He's got all the size or all of the tools that you kind of look for. That's what Sean Payton has worked with his entire career with Drew Brees. I think Bo Nix, I don't think he's Drew Brees, but I think Bo Nix is a really good quarterback. He is going to be a good NFL quarterback. And I know people don't love Bo Nix because of the age. He's played more college games than anyone in NCAA history. But this guy is an absolute beast. He's gotten better each year, especially at Oregon. His ball placement is good. He's got the ability to make plays with his legs, really accurate with the football, doesn't turn it over. I'm a big fan of Bo Nix. I think he's perfect for Denver. He's going to be my selection here. Then you got the Raiders taking a corner. It's going to be Kool-Aid McKinstry, my top cornerback on the board. Good size, good speed, excellent press man corner. Their secondary has been really lacking a number one corner. I like Nate Hobbs. I think he could be more of a number two. Kool-Aid McKinstry is that guy for me. He is my number one corner. I'm taking him to the Raiders. Then you got the Saints here at 14. Pretty simple pick for me. It's going to be Jared Verse. I would like to go quarterback, but again, not a quarterback worth taking to me. Jared Verse is a really, really good option. You could kind of play him on that 3-4. You could play him on the edge. I think he's a pretty versatile piece as well. Compared him to Brian Burns, a guy who is going to get to the quarterback. He's got a plethora of pass rush moves to get there. Been extremely productive. Bit of a down year this year, but a very productive option. I think he's going to be a really good piece for the Saints. Then you got the Colts at 15, and this is my team, as you guys know. Very tough decision for me to make. Between Nate Wiggins, Brock Bowers, and I would probably throw in Brian Thomas Jr. here. Do you want a number one receiver that's going to take the top off? Do you want a corner? Because you saw it. Nico Collins was the only weapon that Houston really had in that game, and the Colts couldn't really shut him down. So I'm looking at Nate Wiggins for that. You also have Brock Bowers here, who is the best player on the board. He's got the blocking ability to help protect Anthony Richardson. He's a safety blanket. And the Colts tight end room isn't necessarily a strength. I like Will Mallory, but I don't know if he's our number one tight end. I'm taking Brock Bowers. I think Bowers is the perfect piece for this Colts offense. Shane Steichen is going to find ways to use him, and it's going to be a really good match here. Anthony Richardson is going to get himself a number one type receiver at the tight end position. You keep Pittman, maybe add a guy in free agency, get a corner in round 2. But I think Bowers to the Colts is a really good situation for him. I'm going to take him there. Then we got the Seahawks here at 16. Another spot that's pretty tough for me to pick because I could see them going a number of different ways. I personally have been on board with them taking an interior offensive lineman here. The interior offensive line for them hasn't been particularly good. You've got Graham Barton. I'm looking more at Troy Fautanu, who I think is going to swing in the guard, can play swing tackle for you as well. Is it a bit high for Fautanu? It is. This would be a really good trade back spot, in my opinion. But we're not doing trades today. You look at the interior defensive line, Leonard Taylor, who I'm a big fan of, Tavondre Sweat. Still a bit early. You could look at the quarterback room. Michael Penix Jr. is there. After what I saw in the national championship, it's going to be tough. I could see him going in round 1. I could see him falling to round 2. Same thing with J.J. McCarthy. I could see him falling to round 2 as well. This is a really tough pick for me to make. Receiver, don't really like that. Safety, I do like the safety situation. Oh, man, this is tough. I think I am going to take Troy Fautanu with the intention of kicking him into guard. I know it's really high, but he's been in that Seattle area the last few years. Been a really good tackle who's going to translate better to the guard. Gets beat a lot to the outside. He's got really good athleticism. Yeah, I think he's going to get selected higher than people think. So I'm going to take him here at 16. He's going to test out well. He's really athletic. I think he's going to be a really good piece for the Seahawks moving forward. Pick that not a lot of people were expecting to see, but I think it's a good one nevertheless. Then we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do want to look at the edge rushers. Yeah, I don't think Braylon Trice or Chop Robinson are great there. It's going to be a offensive tackle for me. I'm going to take Amarius Mims, freak athlete out of Georgia, can play left tackle, can play right tackle, really good run blocker, still a bit unpolished, but a guy who I think has an extremely high ceiling. I'm going to take him at 17 to Jacksonville. Then at number 18, we're taking Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State. Jonah Williams likely moving on. You got Orlando Brown on the left side. You're going to have Fuaga on the right side. I think that's a really good tackle duo there. You're going to have to address the interior as the draft goes on, but I think Fuaga is the right choice here. I think he is a better choice to me than Latham, so I'm going to take that there. Then we got the Packers here. I'm going to go with Nate Wiggins here, a team that secondary has been a bit up and down for the Packers. I think Nate Wiggins could give them some security there. A guy who's going to test off the charts at the combine, got good ball skills, productive year at Clemson, really worked his way into round 1 consideration. And there's rumors Jair Alexander might not be back. You're going to need to address that secondary. I think Nate Wiggins is a home run pick for the Green Bay Packers. Then we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For me, it's going to be Keon Coleman here to get another wide receiver. Mike Evans is a free agent. We don't know what the long-term situation is going to be for him. I think you definitely have to make a move there to go get a number 1 receiver. I think Coleman has shown that he can be that. There are questions about his separation ability, but a great contested catch receiver. I still think he is a round 1 guy. I know some people have been moving him down the board because his numbers weren't as great as you would have expected. But I still think he is going to be a dynamic piece. I'm taking him at number 20 to the Bucks. And then at number 21, a Cardinals team that's in a really good spot. We're going to take Cooper DeJean, versatile piece. You can move him to safety. You can play him at corner. I think you can play him anywhere. He's a chess piece on this defense. I think he's an excellent move for Arizona, whose secondary was a really weak unit. You now just get a piece that you can kind of move around and play with however you would like to. I think there's a home run pick for the Arizona Cardinals. At number 22, we got the Rams, and it's going to be J.C. Latham. Get a brick wall at that right tackle position, a guy who is going to be a really good piece for a long time. Yes, there are motor concerns with Latham, but this guy has been fantastic. Didn't necessarily have an incredible game against Michigan, but still a first-round guy. Stay tuned. We'll be doing a full breakdown on him on the channel in just a couple of days. The Pittsburgh Steelers are at number 23. Very interesting spot again. Corner is in play here. You've got Terrion Arnold. You've got Kamari Lassiter. Good corners. For me, it's going to be Graham Barton out of Duke, a guy who can play guard, can play center, can play tackle, similar to the Cooper DeJean piece, a guy who I think is a chess piece for your offensive line, which I think is exactly what you are hoping for. You can play him anywhere. I think he's going to be a really, really good player at the NFL level. Excellent run blocker as well. I'm going to take him here to the Steelers at 23. Then at 24, a move that not a lot of people, if I had to guess, not a lot of people are going to expect me to make. We're going to take a tackle, but it's going to be Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. Tyler Guyton is a guy who is extremely athletic and is also a player who I think is going to fly up draft boards after the combine, after the Senior Bowl, when he really puts the world on notice. This is a first-round guy to me. Really good blocker, athletic, can play left tackle, right tackle, great run blocker as well. I think he's perfect for what Miami wants to do in their blocking schemes. So he's going to be my selection here to the Dolphins. And then at 25, it's going to be Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. Excellent situation here for him. Gets to go to a spot where he's definitely going to need to step in and be an impactful player, which I think he can do. Had an excellent year for Alabama this year. Good ball skills, good speed as well, good size, can kind of play zone, can play that press off man. I think he's a very good corner. Going to be a first-round pick probably. I've got him at number 25. At number 26, no question about it, it's going to be Brian Thomas Jr., a guy who's got excellent size on the outside, and then you pair that with fantastic speed to go along with it. This is exactly what the Chiefs offense has been lacking. You need a guy who is going to take the top off the defense. They don't have that. He's got reliable hands. Reminds me a bit of Calvin Ridley, to be honest, which I think is a good thing. I think Ridley is still a solid receiver. I'm going to take Brian Thomas at number 26. Then we've got the Texans at 27. To me, it's going to be Braylon Trice out of Washington, a guy who has led the FBS, he's led the FBS the last couple of years in terms of pressures. He's going to get to the quarterback. He's a good run stopper. Reminds me of Bradley Chubb, a guy who is just going to get to the quarterback, really athletic piece on your defense, and I think that's an excellent piece to have on your team. So he is going to be the selection there at number 27 to the Houston Texans. I do want to see. This is going to be a corner for me for the Lions. Their pass defense has been a very weak unit. I'm going to take Kamari. No, we're actually going to take Kalen King. Excuse me. Kalen King has gotten a lot of disrespect, I feel like. Didn't exactly have an incredible season, but is a guy who's still a really good athlete. He's quick to the football, and he is a physical corner. I think that's exactly what this Lions team is lacking. They need some physicality in that secondary. Can maybe play that slot corner role. I compared him to DJ Reed. Really, really like Kalen King. I still think he's a first-round talent. I'm going to have him go to the Lions here at 28. At 29, we get the Buffalo Bills, another team that I think is probably going to go after a receiver. You could look at the safety position, which I don't hate with Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, both getting up there in age. But Troy Franklin, to me, is a home run pick if you're able to get him at the back end of the first round. Great size, excellent speed down the field. At 6'4", he is able to just run by guys. I think it's a huge addition to this team that it's going to be a game-changing move for them. I think you now, with Gabe Davis being a free agent, you're going to need to look in the receiving room. I think Troy Franklin is an excellent move for Buffalo. At number 30, we got the Dallas Cowboys. This is going to be Kamari Lassiter. I know the cornerback room is still pretty good. You got Gilmore, you got Deron Bland, you've got Trayvon Diggs, but it never hurts to have too many corners. I think this is the exact situation that Lassiter could go into. He's a bit of a project as well. a raw guy, goes to a team where I don't think he has to be completely impactful immediately, but he could be a really solid piece as time goes on. I think it's a great situation. I've got Lassiter at 30. At 31, we've got the Niners. It's going to be a tackle for me. I'm going to take a guy who man, this is tough. Corner is also on play. Quinyon Mitchell is going to be the pick. We're going to take Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo, a guy who I'm a huge fan of. Really good ball skills, quick to the football, doesn't play a lot of physical football, but really good zone guy. Opposite side of Charvarius Ward, I think could be a really good pick. Don't really love the tackle options there for the Niners. And then with the last pick in the first round, the Ravens, we're going to go with Xavier Legette out of South Carolina, a guy who I'm going to be doing, well, I just did a video on just a couple of days ago. Got speed, size. I think this is the kind of system that he could work in. And Todd Monken's scheme, where they streak a lot of guys, could be that Rashad Bateman replacement. So we are going to select Mr. Xavier Legette, and that is going to do it for my first round mock. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down below. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.